tonight's card is going to feature this beautiful pattern from the Rustic Harvest Designer Series paper. And it's beautiful for fall, has all the beautiful colors of fall, and this is going to be a great little card. It's different from what we normally do because it's a fun fold. We are going to start with a card that is actually a little bit different in how we make the base. We're going to cut a card at the 4 1/4 mark. Usually that's where we're scoring it, but we want a hot dog fold, which hot dogs are long and skinny. Hamburgers are the other way, short and fat. So normally we create hamburger cards. This is a hot dog fold. I'm going to score this at 5 1/2, which is the halfway point. And then I'm going to score it at 2 3/4, which is the halfway point of the halfway point. It's the quarter point, if you will. Let me set that aside for a second. This is our basic easel card. We will fold it in half, and we're not going to worry about this other score line right now, but that goes on the front. Now we're going to take our Designer Series paper and we're going to cut it at 4 inches. I don't need that open. I cut it at 4 inches. You can get 6 of these easel cards out of one sheet of 12 by 12. Then we're going to turn it and cut it at 6 inches. And on this paper trimmer, there's a nice little edge here at the 6-inch mark, so you can just butt it right up against there and cut, and that's how you know it's at 6. So with this 4 by 6 inch piece, I need to determine which way is up. So many of the things go in different directions. So this gourd is going kind of pointed with the bottom down. This one's going up. But most of the pumpkins seem to have their stems more or less that way. So I'm going to consider this to be the way I would want it on a card. I'm going to cut off the bottom piece at 3/4 of an inch, which means this top piece is at 5 1/4. I'm going to set this aside because we're going to need this for our easel card. We also need this, obviously. When we are attaching this to the front of the card, we only want to adhere it to the bottom half because this is going to actually fold. And when this is on here, I want to be able to pop it up. So you see you have something like that. So it's important that you're only putting adhesive on this bottom half. Now you can do it a number of different ways. You can put this right along side and see that, I mean, you don't need to get right up to the edge, but you don't want to be too far from it either. So I can see my score line, and that's where I'm going to put my glue. So my glue is in the bottom half. I want to just make sure I get this on here straight, which is why I use the green glue, because it allows me some wiggle time. Let that set up for just a second. And you can see that when I fold it, that's what I get. So let's finish off this front right now. We will need a piece of just regular basic white cardstock, and you just need a scrap. I'm sure, like me, you have plenty of those. So here's a piece that I'd cut off a layer, and I'm gonna want to align that in here. Now I could use any color I wanted. I am gonna stick with white because there is plenty of white in here as well. I don't think I need it this long though, but in order to know that for sure, I need my sentiment. Let's go ahead and pick a sentiment from the Peaceful Moments stamp set. And let's go ahead and use thank you. So we've got a season of thanks coming up here shortly, another couple months. Actually, one of the things I do in November is I like to do something called, I actually don't know if I call it anything, but it's the 30 days of November, I guess. And so each day in November, I want to send a thank you card to someone who has made a difference in my life. Difference could be a big thing, could be a small thing. I can see that this stamp right here, if I measured it, it's about a 1/2 inch wide or tall. So I only need a strip that's probably 3/4 inch wide. I'm going to cut that down. I'm not going to worry about the length right now. I do need to pick a color here, and I think I'm going to go with Cajun Craze. Let's go ahead with our Cajun Craze, and we're going to stamp our thank you right here. Not right at the edge, either edge, but a little bit in. Then I'm going to take my scissors, I'm going to trim this off just a little bit, and then I'm going to, well, maybe a little bit more, and then I'm going to flag the end, which means I'm going to put a little V notch in here. And if it doesn't cut it right away, I just keep extending the V until it does. So there we have something that looks like that. I don't want to adhere it any place, like I wouldn't want to put it up here and adhere it to this edge if I put the adhesive all the way to the edge, because then this piece wouldn't fold up. I want it down here, I think. So we're just going to put it right over there so all the gourds are peeking through. Let's go ahead and let's actually use some dimensionals on that. I'm just going to use the edge of my dimensionals so that nothing gets wasted. Looks a little wide, so we'll snip it in half a little bit. There we go. Take off the backing. And let's just put this in. The front of our card is almost done. All we need now is some embellishments. This is a pretty fresh card. It's a little crooked. Let's go ahead and use either the brushed metallic back dots or the champagne rhinestone. And I'm trying to decide which one looks best. I think I'm gonna go with the brushed metallic back dots that just came off weekly specials. Let's take the big one, and then we'll put that right here. And that's probably all we need. There's a lot going on in the front of this card, so that's probably good. Now to create the easel part of the easel. I'm going to bring in this piece of the Designer Series paper from the Rustic Harvest Designer Series paper as well. And I'm going to use this Cajun Craze side. Again, this side is a bunch of leaves, black and white right now, but you could take a sponge dauber or Stampin' Blends or Stampin' Write marker and color those in for a multicolored effect. Not what I'm doing here, but I need a 4-inch strip. Actually, I probably need, yeah, let's go with a 4-inch strip. We'll keep the border. I'm going to cut that at 4 inches by 1 7/8. Because we have 4 inches, we have plenty of room to play with here. And we can use this for a lot of other things. I'm going to cut it 1 7/8 inches the other direction. This is just going to give us a little something at the bottom of this card, a little more interest than just a plain white inside and the easel mechanism, which you don't even know what the easel mechanism is right now. So there we've put that inside the card. Let's straighten it up a little bit. The magic of liquid glue allows us to move that before it's totally set in place. There we go. I'm going to bring in that other piece of designer series paper that we had cut off earlier. You need your Stampin' Dimensionals again. I'm going to use up the edges one last time. Let's see, I'm gonna use 3 pieces here. And it's important to know where this was on the piece. So if I go back to the front, I can see that this is the continuation right here. I want to make sure it continues. It's not a necessity, but it does look better on the finished card. So that's how it lines up. We're going to put this right here at the top. And so when it's closed, it looks like this. When you open it, it looks like that. We can stamp a saying or sentiment here, but to display it, it will look like that. It's hard to show this on camera. You can see from the side view what's going on here. We've got this little triangle here. I can actually score this, or I can fold this and burnish it so it's a nice crisp fold. And you can see that that's what you're going to get. Because this is on dimensionals, it holds it right in place. And so closed, open. See if I can tip it up and see how the continuation goes from in the pattern. Pretty cool. Not a huge area to write things. You can put some embellishments down here if you would like as well, because this is already standing up a little bit with embellishments. So you can put a few more of these on if you would like to. I don't think I'm going to here. I think with these little dots and that strip, it's enough. Maybe I will put in something to go along with the thank you. How about you shouldn't have, but I'm glad you did. So this would be for a specific reason I'm thanking someone. It's not just thanking them for being them. Hopefully you have people in your life who do something unexpected for you and that really makes your day, even if it's just a little something. And then you can send them a card of thanks. You shouldn't have, but I'm glad you did. And they can just keep that up and display that quite easily. And that is an easel card.